Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be showing you how I created this Basquiat inspired cake. So for this one I used a different technique. I wanted to try and see how it would work using the acetate, and it actually works, so I'm glad it did. So I'm just taking a piece of acetate. I already measured it around my cake. I ended up making it a little too short. But yeah, just leave if you leave like maybe about an inch extra room when you measure out your cake, I think that would be good. So I printed off the image that I want to trace, and I made the image backwards. And then I'm just taping the picture in place onto the counter, and then also I'm taping the sides of the acetate so that it doesn't move while I'm piping on the frosting. Okay, so first I'm going to start with my black frosting and just pretty much just tracing the image. And you just do that throughout the whole thing. It's not going to be perfect. There's so many different lines, and obviously this actual painting was created with a different technique, but I just did what I could do and made it look as close as possible. And at the end, you just want to put on a layer of frosting because this is what's going to go around the whole cake. So here I'm just picking the image up, and you want to make sure you take the tape off to release it from the table. And I'm just going to place it around the cake. This, I ended up dropping it. Yep. So I just pulled it back over with a little offset spatula and respread the frosting on it. So I did make it a little bit too thick. I think I applied too much frosting. So I think if you do about like a 1/4 inch of frosting, that's good. It ended up being like a little bit too heavy. Okay, so we're going to try again. I'm using a little offset spatula to help lift up the acetate. As you can see, this got real messy, guys. It was my first time, but it was so fun seeing the outcome. So here I'm just taking the piece of acetate and placing it on the cake. You want to try to get it as close as possible, and you want to make sure that the acetate is lined up with the baseboard. So you want to make sure it's not too high and everything is kind of like aligned together. So here you see me kind of spreading on the side, and I wouldn't really recommend doing that with like how I did it with my hands. I think using this tool is much better because when I took off the acetate, I can see that my image was a little bit, it looked like it was like brushed to the side a little. So yeah, you just want to try to place it on your cake as close as possible so that you don't have any like swiping looks once you take the acetate off. So here I'm just using my cake comb to try to make sure that the frosting is all attached to the sides of the cake and that everything is even, because once you refrigerate this, however the frosting looks before you put it in is how it will remain afterwards. So you just want to make sure there's no spaces or waves in between the cake and the acetate sheet. So here I'm just using a little bit of white frosting and piping in between any spaces that I see that are between the frosting on the acetate sheet and the cake. Just so when you take it off, there's not a lot of bubbles or spaces or things like that. And then I'm going to use frosting to frost the top of the cake. So I'm just putting a blob of frosting on top, and then I'm going to use my little offset spatula to spread it out. And I'm just mixing any extra frosting that I had left over. You do want to make sure that you have enough frosting to kind of align with the top of the acetate sheet. This will give it nice clean edges when it's finished. If you just use the acetate as a guide to fill in the frosting on the top of your cake. Okay, so like I told you before, I had made the acetate a little too short, so I'm just gonna fill in the space that's here with some more frosting. And this will be the back of the cake, so you won't be able to see it when you're looking at the cake facing front. And then I'm just gonna go in and continue to fill in that space that was between the two sheets. And again, you can use blue, you can use whatever color you want. I just used any color that was left over just to fill in the space. It's already an abstract cake, and it's in the back, so it doesn't really matter as much. So I'm just going to go around the cake with my cake comb just to make sure all of the frosting is even. So once I have all the sides even, I'm going to use my cake comb to go over the top to make sure it's nice and even and has a leveled surface. And once I have the desired look and the sides are all even and the top is leveled, I'm going to go ahead and refrigerate my cake for about 15 to 20 minutes. After my cake is completely chilled, now we can take the acetate sheet off. Here is the big reveal. So the acetate transfers all the frosting that was piped on onto the cake, and ta-da! Doesn't it look so good? Obviously, you can use any design that you want for this. You can do a cheetah print, you can do bananas, whatever you feel like. Even on the top, you can see you get nice clean edges. You don't really have a lot left to do to make sure it has sharp edges because the top of the acetate sheet helped out with that. So this acetate has like a height of about 6 inches, and I can put a link to the acetate that I bought in the description below. And here is the final result. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please feel free to tag me on @Givansweets on Instagram if you decide to recreate something like this. I'd love to see your designs. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.